Tonight, a weather balloon company's mea culpa. One of its balloons likely hit that United Airlines plane flying from Denver to L.A. at 36,000 feet, shattering the windscreen, sending glass flying into the cockpit, and leaving one of the pilots bleeding from cuts on his arm. Passengers on board startled when the pilot something and were diverting to Salt Lake City.
It's saying, hey folks, I have some bad news. Unfortunately, the aircraft has collided with an object and shattered a window in the cockpit.
Now, Windborne Systems says the plane likely hit one of its 2.5-pound weather balloons, seen here. Writing in a statement, we are grateful that to our knowledge there were no serious injuries and no loss of pressurization. John Dean is the CEO. You believe that this was your balloon that impacted the 737?
That's correct. So given our flight telemetry data, it appears likely to us that it was a windborne balloon that struck the plane, or rather, the plane flew into a windborne balloon.
Windborne says it's launched 5,000 weather balloons so far, each one transmitting a precise GPS signal and altitude. But somehow the plane still flew into it at 500 miles per hour. Now the company is reprogramming its balloons to avoid another collision.
We always work with a local ATC in the region when we launch a balloon, and we'll call the tower ahead of time before a launch to tell the FAA we're launching.
NBC News aviation analyst Captain John Cox.
The FAA should be sharing this data so that pilots are aware anytime there's a balloon like this in their airspace.
Meanwhile, a very different type of scare in the air over Nebraska Monday night when the pilots of a SkyWest flight operating as American Airlines declared an emergency and returned to Omaha. A faulty intercom system on board prevented any communication between pilots in the cockpit and their flight attendants. One or more flight attendants began banging on the cockpit door to reach the pilots, who were prohibited from opening the door in case of hijacking.
And one of the flight attendants had panicked because they thought there was something happening inside of the cockpit. So she started banging on the door. Fearing the worst, the pilots decided to make an emergency landing back in Omaha.
Since we weren't able to communicate with each other, we weren't sure if something was going on with the aircraft or not.
Once on the ground, police boarded the plane to ensure there was no hijacking attempt.
And Tom Costello joins us now from D.C. Tom, we're just learning about new ground stops at airports today due to staffing issues.
Yeah, that's right. Now, listen, it's virtually impossible to know whether this is related to the government shutdown and air traffic controllers who individually have been calling out sick, either in protest or citing the stress of working without a paycheck. Nonetheless, right now we've got Houston in a ground stop. We've got ground stops possible, according to the FAA, due to staffing in Philadelphia and Jacksonville Center later, and then separately Newark until about 8 p.m. About 2,500 ground stops delays, I should say, 2,500 flight delays nationwide as we speak. Compare that to yesterday. We had about 6,700 in total, and again, 7,900 on Sunday. But Ellison, I really want to stress, we have had an ongoing air traffic control staffing problem in this country that we've been talking about for years. We've highlighted the ongoing training to try to ramp up new hiring. And now we have this, of course, the government shutdown. It's really impossible to determine which of these is due to the shutdown and which is simply the new reality.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.